Foreign Intelligence Task Force, the unit created in 2017 to investigate foreign interference, share intelligence across agencies, and work with the private sector to close cyber vulnerabilities. It has gutted enforcement of the Foreign Agents Registration Act, FARA, which exists to expose covert foreign influence in our political system. It dismantled the Office of the Director of National Intelligence's own Foreign Malign Influence Center, a center created by law. This is not an option for Tulsi Gabbard to dismiss. This center was created by law to track and document state-sponsored threats to our elections and candidates, and do so with transparency designed to make sure politics stays out of its work. And it has slashed the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA's, election security workforce, cutting more than a third of the agency and ending funding for programs that provided direct cybersecurity support to state and local elections. These are not the actions of an administration that's serious about election security. These are the actions of an administration clearing away safeguards while simultaneously inserting itself into domestic investigations, seizing election materials as they did in Georgia, and publicly calling for Republicans, again, to take over and nationalize voting in multiple states. When you put all of this together, it is clear that what happened in Fulton County is not about revisiting the past. It is about shaping the outcome of future elections. And quite honestly, dismantling the very guardrails that were put in place to keep them free and fair. This is why it cannot be brushed aside with carefully worded letters from Director Gabbard. She owes Congress, and more important, the American people, direct answers. So once again, I'm calling on the Director of National Intelligence to appear in person before the Senate Intelligence Committee to testify under oath about her role in this matter. She needs to explain why she believed it was appropriate to involve herself in a domestic criminal investigation, why she facilitated direct contact between the President and FBI agents on the ground, and what safeguards, if any, were put in place to protect against direct political interference. Now, we all know that Americans deserve free elections, safe from political intimidation. They deserve a justice system that operates independently, and they deserve accountability when those very safeguards are put at risk. As Vice Chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, I'm going to use every tool I can to make sure that we get those answers. And before I take questions, I remember back a year ago at this time when people would often ask me when they were seeing the actions of the Trump administration, do you think we'll have free and fair elections in 26 or in 28? And my response at that point was, I think you're overreacting. I have deep concerns about the fairness of our elections in 26 and 28 right now. I have concerns about the elections in primaries in our country. I have concerns about the elections that may take place in Virginia in terms of a redistricting referendum. These kind of actions that have taken place over the last year, as we've seen the systemic dismantling of the very protections that were put in place by, again, the first Trump administration. If it doesn't scare the heck out of you, it should. And then, if you go back to the report, the Bipartisan Intelligence Committee investigation report into the 2016 interference, unanimously agreed to by including the Secretary of State and all of the members of the committee, it said one of the strongest protections we had about interference in our election system was the fact of our decentralization, that we have these elections carried out as laid out in the Constitution by states and localities. The idea that now Donald Trump wants to nationalize these elections and have one political party take over that process, This provides a huge danger to our country going forward and the safety and security of these elections. So I'd be happy to take your questions.
Senator, given the President's comments on the podcast and the events in Georgia, have you heard about this effort spreading to other states? Are you concerned?
I'm deeply concerned.